Hey you guys, and welcome back to the kitchen. In this lesson, we're going to be making the most delicious, smooth, silky, and rich dessert. We're making berry coconut chia pudding. Now, this could also be your breakfast, so don't worry if you decide you want to wake up first thing in the morning and have this, but it also doubles as a delicious treat for after dinner as a dessert. And the best part about it is that it's good for you. So let's start by looking at our ingredients. If you want to, you can download the PDF recipe that's attached below, and I will just go over the ingredients with you now. So, to make our chia pudding, we're going to be using plant milk. The recipe calls for unsweetened vanilla coconut milk. You could also use almond milk, or if you're allergic to nuts, you could use oat milk. So we're doing 2 cups of plant milk. Get 2 cups of fresh berries. I've got blueberries and blackberries that I just got. We're going to also be using, of course, our chia seeds because it is a chia pudding. I'm using unsweetened cocoa powder. The recipe, you will notice, calls for cacao powder. So if you are making this recipe at home and you're wondering what's the difference and does it matter, I'm going to be using cocoa. You can definitely use the more bitter chocolate cacao. It's really, really good and it will bring a nice bite to this recipe. So, and then also we need coconut. Unsweetened, once again, shredded coconut. So you'll notice every single time I introduce an additive product to any of our recipes, I'm going to go with the unsweetened version. It's much better to sweeten your cooking and your baking yourself by adding in whole molecule natural sweeteners as opposed to things like table sugar. So a lot of times when you're getting a sweetened product that comes in a plastic container, there's going to be added sugars that are like partial molecule, hard to dissolve, hard to digest. So we want to stay away from that. So always go for unsweetened. Okay, let's assemble the first step of our chia pudding. So the first thing we're going to do is measure out a 1/2 cup of chia seeds. And we're going to mix together the base of our pudding. Look at all that nutrition. Okay. And then we're going to stir in our cocoa powder. So we're doing just a teaspoon here of our cocoa. Oh, it smells good already. If you hate chocolate, you can skip that one little step and then you're going to have the same delicious pudding without the cocoa or the chocolate part. And then, of course, we're going to add in our plant milk. And we're just going to whisk this all together until it's really well blended. You could be creative at this step. If you wanted a different flavor, you could add, like I mentioned, you could add some vanilla. You could throw in some nutmeg or some cinnamon. So that is perfect. Now I'm going to cover this with a piece of saran wrap. I'm going to place it in my refrigerator for 30 minutes. So while this is refrigerating, it's going to start to combine and form a thicker, more gelatinous texture. And so we'll be back in 30 minutes to take a look at this and take our next step. And voila, just like that, with the magic of television, our chia pudding mixture is ready and nice and refrigerated. And we're going to assemble the jars. Now, the recipe makes 4 servings and it calls to assemble them in 8-ounce jars. I only had 2 of these little 8-ounce jars available at the moment, so I'm going to make 1 giant one as well. But you should have enough to do 4 8-ounce jars. And what we're going to do is just take a 1/4 cup scoop. So stir it up a little bit so your pudding mixture is nice and smooth. Splashing it all over the place. Okay, perfect. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of my chia pudding mixture into my jar. I'm going to add in about 1/3 cup of the berries. And then a couple tablespoons, so maybe like an 1/8 cup. I'll use the same scoop just because we're using this scoop to top it. Another round of berries. This time I want to get my coconut, so let me get a different spoon. Make sure I get my coconut mixture in there. And as you can see, that's just about filled this jar. Oops, a stray blueberry. And then I'm going to top that off with a little shake of slivered almonds. Put on the lid And then I'm gonna put that in the fridge and I'm just gonna let that sit overnight. It's gonna be delicious. So chia pudding congeals, all the flavors begin to combine, and when you wake up in the morning, you've either got a delicious dessert for later in the day or your dessert breakfast. I hope you enjoy, and definitely let me know how your chia pudding comes out, your berry coconut.